But the Senate on Tuesday passed a bill to rescind its decision, which subjected the Independent National Electoral Commission to seek approval from the Nigerian Communications Commission before it could transmit elections results electronically. The upper chamber also voted in support of the conduct of party primaries only by direct method. The bill is titled Recommittal of Amended Clauses of a Bill for an Act to repeal the Electoral Bill 2021 and enact the Electoral Act 2021. The Senate had in July, during consideration of a report on 2010 Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021, submitted by its Committee on INEC, amended Clause 52, subsection 3, as recommended. While the clause as presented by the committee, the report says INEC can transmit election results electronically where and when practicable. The Senate passed the amended version, which says INEC can transmit electoral results electronically subject to confirmation of the NCC based on adequacy and security of national network. Now, the House of Representatives on Tuesday urged the Federal Ministry of Transportation and its agencies to enforce safety regulations in all waterways in Nigeria. The House also mandated its committees on inland waterways and legislative compliance to ensure implementation of the resolution and report back. This followed the adoption of a motion on the need to enforce safety regulations in Nigerian waterways, brought by Honorable Hamisu Ibrahim. The lawmaker in his presentation noted that water is a means of transportation in Nigeria, but in recent years, the Nigerian waterways have become dangerous, with reports of over 300 fatalities in 2020 and over 100 deaths from May to September 2021. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has described the health of Nigerians as a key feature of national security, calling for strengthening of health infrastructure across the country. Speaking on Tuesday during the commissioning of the remodeled Ikot Ekbene General Hospital Phase 1, Jonathan commended the Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel for renovating the 117 years of old medical facility. He said the COVID-19 pandemic has opened the eyes of people worldwide to the importance of the health status of the nation, as health was the right of every human being. Also speaking, Emmanuel said the commissioning of the General Hospital was a fulfillment of his campaign promise to establish world-class secondary health care facilities in all the 10 federal constituencies in the state. 6 women and 9 children kidnapped in the northeast have escaped their captors, walking for 6 days through the bush to freedom, an official said on Monday. The 15 hostages were seized separately from the farming villages of the Takulashi in Borno State, Chibok District, and Konfer in neighboring Adamawa district several months ago. Chibok was the scene of the 2014 abduction of more than 200 schoolgirls by Boko Haram, which earned the jihadist group global notoriety.
I want to appeal to all Bornolites and Nigerians to continue to pray so that we can have absolute peace. As government, we are working with security agencies and other stakeholders to enhance that our other daughters return home.
2 suspected internet fraudsters, Okoribe Irekpetan and Onyekwa Chinedum, have been arraigned for the alleged impersonation of Nigerian British heavyweight boxer Anthony Joshua. The duo was arraigned on Monday by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, before Justice S.M. Shoaibu of the Federal High Court in Benin, Edo State, on a 2-count charge each of impersonation. In a statement issued on Tuesday, spokesman for the anti-graft agency Wilson Owojarin said each of the defendants faces 2 counts. Defendants were accused of allegedly sending electronic messages to 2 ladies and defrauding them of the sums of £10,000 and £5.4 million, respectively, in London, the capital of England, sometime in 2019. Their offences are said to be punishable under Section 14, subsection 2 of the Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention Act 2015. And following the attack at the police station in Yola, south of Adamawa State, the Assistant Inspector General of Police said attack was an isolation because Adamawa is one of the peaceful states in the country. The AIG disclosed this today when he visited the affected area in Ngurore, Yola South. He assured the community of safeguarding lives and property of all people.
This one is just an isolated case, you know. And before this time, I'd already told the CP and his officers and men to go about and make the place, at least to make police visible to everybody, so they know that everybody can go about his normal business without molestation, especially in the light of what happened last year, October 11th. That's exactly 1 year today. You all remember what the End SARS protest was all about. So we're already on ground, already prepared, you know, for any attacks or whatever security breaches. This one was just an isolated case. You can see that though the station was attacked, but none of our men was killed, none of our men was injured, none of our arms were stolen. And I assure you that those people, I don't think they are faceless. We are going to get them, and in the next 7 days, by God's grace, we are going to get them arrested.
The strike embarked upon by state and local government workers in Cross River State on Tuesday paralyzed the judiciary and other public institutions. The gates of the state judiciary headquarters on Mary Slessor Avenue in Calabar were shut.
Professional politicians.
Litigants could not enter the complex. Lawyers at the gates declined to comment on the strike, which took some of them unawares. Public schools were also shut and students asked to return home. Likewise, the old and new secretariats were also locked. Labor leaders were seen going around to enforce and monitor compliance. The 2021 celebration kicked off on Monday with a symposium themed the national question, evolution or devolution, to mark the celebration of the legendary Afro musician FELA Anikulapo Bukriti. The program was graced by activists and legal experts who took turns to canvass for good governance and a better Nigeria.
Professional politicians to reduce the 2023 race to an ethnic struggle. Those who are saying it is their turn to rule Nigeria have to convince Nigerians what they want to do with power. We want to know from those who want to rule Nigeria their solutions to the energy crisis after 61 years of independence and giving the billions of dollars that have been spent on power. Why are Nigerians living in darkness? We want to have answers to that. Why are the rulers of the country and other privileged people going abroad for medical treatment? Why the rest of the population, the rest of our people are allowed to die of preventable diseases? We want answers to this.
Nigeria never evolved, it was always lumped together. So when you're talking evolution in relation to that kind of entity, it's a waste of time. If you're now talking devolution in a state that is meant to be federal, then it simply means that you have a problem somewhere. Devolution means that you're handing power from the top to down. But that would be a lie. This was not the way this country was founded. It was founded on federalist principles, which meant that the parts had the power and then they gave power to the central. So it wasn't the central giving power to the lower levels of governance. It was the lower levels coming together, forming the central and giving it power. So neither are applicable to Nigeria. If we truly desire change in Nigeria, positive change, if we want anything to change, things to move, then we would have to be speaking in terms of a revolution. When people hear the word revolution, more often than not, there is this scare buzz that comes up immediately. Revolution to them almost always means violence, guns, wars, but it's not. It simply means a turnaround. Anything that turns the situation in Nigeria today around would be a revolution.
The way I see Africa's problem is we as a people must appreciate 500 years of slavery, 100 years of colonization, 70, 80, 60 years of bad African governments. But all this history is intertwined and are part of each other. It is one that led to one that led to one that are all still part of that same history of oppression. When you understand as young people 500 years, you see, when we talk about it, we just say, sometimes we hear some people say, look, it happened, forget it, move on. The Jewish people don't tell you what happened to the Jewish during the Holocaust, that forget it. They had 6 years of oppression with the Germans. And every German government that comes into power has to first apologize for the Holocaust. That is must deal with it.
Determined to fast-track the wheel of the administration of justice, fair play, equity and good governance in its domain, the state governor, Sheikh Makinde, has sworn in 10 new commissioners to oversee affairs in their various ministries. Similarly, the state executive also inaugurated Justice Moshood Abbas as president of the Customary Court of Appeal. In his address, Governor Makinde charged his appointees to hit the ground running and to remain steadfast.
Justice Abbas has been an exemplary member of the judiciary since being called to bar in 1983, especially since his appointment as a High Court judge in 2001. Well, we can indeed say he has paid his dues.
As I said earlier on the day I was screened by the House of Assembly, I made it very clear that it is not part of the system in the judiciary for a judicial officer to make pronouncements in public. In most cases, our views are always known through the judgment that we write. And therefore, gentlemen, I want to say that I will only pray to the Almighty Allah to ensure that I have a very successful tenure.
Oyo State Police Command on Tuesday said it has discovered plans by some groups of individuals to embark on large-scale violent protests in commemoration of the one-year anniversary of #EndSTARS saga that rocked the country last October. Now, the commander, through the spokesman Adewale Osifeso, Deputy Superintendent of Police, appealed to individuals, groups, and most importantly, those behind the sinister plans to have a rethink. Governor Nasir El-Rufai has presented the 2022 draft budget of 233 billion naira to Kaduna State House of Assembly. The budget has capital expenditure of 146 billion naira and recurrent spending of 87.6 billion naira. Speaking during the presentation of the draft budget on Tuesday, El-Rufai pointed out that the allocations in the 2022 budget estimates reflect the political values and governance principles that have consistently guided the 6 previous budgets that his government has presented. Giving a further breakdown of the 233 billion naira budget estimate, the governor disclosed that it has a capital to recurrent ratio of 63%, 37%. He further said that the priorities of the 2022 estimates are on education, healthcare, and infrastructure like previous budgets. Now, the Edo State House of Assembly on Tuesday in Benin passed the Edo State College of Nursing Science Law 2021 and appealed to the Edo State College of Nursing and Midwifery Law 2015. The bill was passed in plenary following its consideration by the Committee of the Whole of the Assembly. The motion for the passage of the bill was moved by the Majority Leader Henry Okurobo, PDP Ikpoba Oka, and seconded by the Deputy Speaker Roland Asor, PDP Oriomo. He said that the college would provide the needed manpower for the state and health sector and create jobs.